everybody, welcome back to today's episode. I'm going to be sharing how I refinish and repair this game table that a customer has brought to me. There is quite a lot of work to be done on this piece, and it does extend to allow for 3 table extensions to be placed into it so that it could become a dining table size. But yeah, let's get into it and see what has to happen. So right off the bat, you can see that there's quite a significant amount of wear and watering marcation that has happened. The surface texture is really rough. So this leads me to believe that this was exposed to water at some point. And you can see that obviously from the watermarks that are left over here. But outside of that, the finish itself has failed significantly in some areas. There's a beautiful walnut veneer that is glued on top. And veneer is really important for pieces. There's actually a reason why veneer is placed on top of pieces, and I will tell you that later on. So opening up the tabletop, you can see that inside is not as bad. The structure it's going to need some work. It is very wobbly underneath, but the actual finish on the inside here is not as worn as the top would be and the sides, because it's obviously not being as exposed to the elements. So there is quite a bit of repair work that needs to get done on one of the sides here. There we are. So the wood has separated here, and if this is a mortise and tenon joint, then, which I can't tell if it is, but if it is, then that will need to be re-glued. So I will have to take this part apart and put it back together. Same with this, it is a little bit wobbly. And then this insert here, kind of hard to see because there's not much light, but this is quite wobbly under here and coming apart. And again, just aside from the dirt, it's just the finish is failing a lot on this piece. So all of this will be taken back and stripped off, and I will be restaining this in a color similar. This is probably a dark walnut. The top with the water markings, I don't know how significant they are going to be, but most likely I will have to do a oxalic acid bleaching with it. There are also some sections that have lost some veneer. So this may just be small enough that I can just fill that with an epoxy and just do some color blending, or I may just have to add some new bits of veneer on there. Some of the veneer has also lifted, and you can test that not only because you can see where the veneer has broken and lifted, but you can actually also hear the difference. So if you listen carefully, this is glued down. And this is veneer that has lifted. So lifted veneer has a kind of a twanginess to it, and hollowness. Whereas solid veneer, it sounds like you're just hitting wood. So those couple spots and anywhere else, I will be testing on the piece for some loose veneer. There are a couple of little dowel pieces that have gone missing and broken, so those will need to be put back in and fixed and re-glued. There are a couple of them that are quite loose. So like I mentioned earlier, there is a really good reason why veneer is used on furniture. But not just one reason, there are several reasons. The first would be cost efficiency. Veneers allowed cabinet makers to use expensive, fashionable woods like mahogany, ebony, even walnut, only as a thin outer layer, while constructing the main body of the furniture from more accessible and cheaper woods like oak and pine. This made the furniture more affordable without sacrificing the appearance of luxury woods. The second reason is for decorative appeal. Veneers were selected for their beautiful grain patterns and colors, which could be showcased on furniture surfaces.
Skilled craftsmen used veneers to create intricate designs, including marquetry and matched grain patterns like book matching, and enhancing the visual appeal of the pieces that they created. A third reason was for stability and durability, and this is a really important one. Applying a thin veneer over a stable wood substrate helped prevent warping and cracking that could occur with solid wood, especially when using wide or figured planks. Veneers made it possible to achieve the look of rare woods on curved or complex surfaces where solid wood would be difficult to use. Another reason is resource conservation. So, veneering extended the use of rare and exotic woods by using them sparingly, which was both highly economical and extremely practical given the limited availability of such species over time. And lastly, the historical tradition. The technique of veneering has ancient origins, dating back to Egyptian and Roman times, and was a respected craft passed down through the centuries. In antique furniture, veneering was often a mark of high quality craftsmanship and artistry. After all that said, veneer was used on old furniture to combine beauty, practicality, and economy, allowing the craftsman to produce durable, visually stunning pieces that showcased rare woods without the cost or structural issues of solid wood construction. Now, some of you may be wondering why I switched to using my carbide scraper on the extended top versus the stripper I was just using. And the answer is simple: the failing finish. Years of water damage, sun exposure, and dry cold cycles from the weather made the top coat, which was likely shellac, fragile and brittle. I could have continued to use my stripper and it would have done the job, but scraping is significantly faster and a lot less messy. Just make sure to always be wearing a face mask, as the particles of dust when scraping off shellac or lacquers is extremely damaging to your lungs and can be quite irritating to those that are sensitive. So please make sure if you're scraping to always wear proper PPE on your face to protect your lungs. This piece holds quite a significant amount of sentimental value to my client, and while I was working on this piece, I found myself thinking a lot about the pieces in my own life and why they're so important to me. You see, before my family and I moved here to Alberta, we sold 98% of everything that we owned to start our new life. This was both an insanely bold task, but it was also very freeing at the same time. It really forced me to whittle down the things in our life that created clutter and chaos. Now, I am not a person that holds on to a lot of things. I never have been, but moving across the country really made me see that I was prioritizing things over the relationships in my life. And something really drastic as moving across the country made me realize that that needed to change. One of the most important items I brought with me was my baptismal cross I got as an infant. I have kept it all this time throughout my 42 years, and even though it is quite small, to me it is extremely valuable. So I understand how something like a piece of furniture, no matter the size, style, or shape, can hold importance to a client. And that's just one of the many reasons why I try my very best to help restore these pieces back to beautiful for my customers. So some of these nails came out really easy and others were more embedded. So they took some MacGyvering to get out of the wood. But all in all, on this project, there weren't a lot of big problems to repair, but lots of little ones that felt tedious and more time consuming than anything. You'll see me use two types of glue on this project, wood glue and hide glue, and there's a reason for that. When it comes to joints, I always use hide glue, and when it comes to cracks, I use wood glue. And here's a quick breakdown in comparison of the two. With wood glue or PVA glue, wood glue is really easy to use, it's widely available, and creates a strong, durable bond suitable for general repairs, especially when a quick, straightforward fix is needed. It's less expensive, simpler to apply, and dries relatively quickly compared to hide glue. For repairs where reversibility is not a concern, such as fixing a broken or cracked area that you do not anticipate needing to reopen, PVA glue is a practical choice. Now, why use hide glue? Well, hide glue does not cause wood fibers to swell, making it ideal for tightly fitted joints. PVA glues, in contrast, can swell the wood, making assembly of precision joints more difficult. Hide glue acts as a lubricant during assembly, helping the tight joints fit together more easily and precisely. It is reversible with heat and moisture, which allows for future disassembly and repair without damaging the wood, which is an essential feature for traditional joinery and furniture that may need servicing or restoration. Hide glue bonds can be refreshed by adding more glue, which, unlike PVA, requires complete removal before regluing. So, in short, use wood glue for general repairs where reversibility and wood swelling are not going to be issues, and then use hide glue for joinery where precision, future repairability, and minimal swelling are essential. I hope that helps clear up any confusion because when I first started working on furniture years ago, I wasn't aware that there was a difference until learning about it on another restoration channel here on YouTube. And boy oh boy, what a world of a difference it has made for my pieces as I'm refinishing and restoring them. There's something really magical about the process of restoration. It can be very therapeutic. After we moved to Alberta, I let myself fall into a fairly depressed state, and everything just seemed harder. Harder to laugh, harder to smile, harder to remember why we moved across the country to begin with. But then one day I came across a listing for a free dresser and broken dining table, and I decided to send the seller a message. Now, don't forget, we sold literally 98% of our items to be able to move across the country. So, not only did I need a dresser, but I also desperately needed a dining table. So, a day later, I had two brand new furniture projects to work on, not realizing that while working away on those, I would begin healing myself as well in the process. And through the hours and hours of sanding, repairing, staining, and painting, I began to enjoy my day to day experiences and pull myself out of the dark. Working with your hands and challenging yourself with something new will do that for you. And after 5 years and several hundred pieces that I've worked on, I feel just like how a restored piece must feel, alive and beautiful, and ready for the world and whatever comes my way, stripped back, repaired, and revived to last decades longer. It really is an amazing feeling to have come from the dark into the light. I ended up using a walnut wood filler to repair the missing veneer on this one extension.
and it worked out beautifully, and I was able to do a little bit of color matching at the end to blend it in. Now, I have seen this one too many times, and it's happened to me several times as well. Sanding veneer can be really super tricky, as you can risk damaging the thin veneer sheets by burning through them with a sander. So for this project, I used a 150 and then a 180 grit sandpaper. And this way, I'm not removing too much wood with each pass, therefore preserving the thickness as much as I can of the old veneer sheet.
This corner on one of the extensions was missing both the veneer and substrate below. So I cut the substrate to size first, glued it on, let it dry, and then measured and cut the new veneer patch. I'm using some walnut veneer to patch this repair so it matches as close to perfect when I go to stain it. Huge thanks to all of you who watched to the end, especially my amazing subscribers. Your support means the world to me, and it's what keeps these transformations coming to life. If you enjoyed this project, please go ahead and give it a like. It really does help more people discover my channel. If you have a question, suggestion, or just want to say hey, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here and you love breathing new life into old furniture, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications bell so you don't miss the next piece I bring back to life. Thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you all on the next episode. Bye for now.